Hello and welcome to a new video. In this video, I'm going to talk to you a bit about the cost of living in Georgia. So my wife and I spent over a year living in Georgia. So we have a really good idea of what it costs day to day living in Tbilisi and Batumi and other cities. So I'm going to break it down into a few things. I'm going to talk about accommodation, transport. We'll also talk about eating out and supermarkets, buying food, and lastly about mobile data, because it's a very important thing when you're traveling, yeah, if you're a nomad or something, or you need to work online. Okay, so let's start with accommodation. Now, it really depends on how long you're going to be staying in Georgia. If, for example, you're going for a couple of days, maybe for a week, then probably your best bet is something like booking.com or maybe Airbnb, like daily kind of rate. Or you could actually contact a hotel directly, on their website and kind of find it in that way. Price wise, you're looking at anything from £8 a night for a hostel, maybe, all the way up to hundreds of pounds for a really posh hotel in the center. Um, if maybe you're planning to stay for a bit longer, a month, a couple of months, 3 months maybe, then you're probably better off going with Airbnb and booking 28 days. Usually you'll get a discount. If you don't see a discount when you look on Airbnb, then message the owner and ask for one, because you know maybe it's not rented that month and maybe it would be a good thing and they'll actually get a full month's money. So it's possible that they'll rent it to you for a whole month with a discount. And you can get up to 50% discount if you contact people and do it that way. If you're staying for a very long time, so maybe 6 months or a year, then there's a website called myhome.ge. Myhome.ge, you'll find loads of properties all around Georgia, and you can rent directly from the landlord. You could contact them and you can negotiate a price, and this will be probably the cheapest way to rent long term in Georgia. The drawback, I think, for us and why we didn't use it is, yes, you get a bed, maybe a TV, maybe a few things, but very often there's no linen and there may be no kitchen utensils, plates and cups, so you'd need to buy that kind of stuff. Not always, but mostly what we looked at, it was like this. We didn't really want to be doing that because we didn't know how long we would be there. So if you're planning on staying for a few years, then it's worth it. What we did was a long-term Airbnb thing. So we contacted people if they weren't offering a discount, then we asked for one. But most places will offer some long-term discount. It also depends on where you are in the city. So if you're in the center touristy part of, say, Tbilisi or Batumi, then it's unlikely that you're going to get a discount in the main kind of tourist season. But the further out of the town center you go, then the more likely you're going to get this discount. So it's definitely worth it. And as I say, that's what we did. Money wise, you can pay anything from £200 a month all the way up to £500-600 a month. It really depends where you are in the city again. You only really need to go 4 or 5 stops out of the center and prices will start to fall. So it's kind of worth doing this. And I'm going to get onto transport in a moment, but it's so easy to get around the cities that you don't need to be in the center. One thing to note is that a lot of people, so Airbnb, okay, that's fine. You're going to pay on the Airbnb system. But if you rent through My Home, or if you negotiate a discount maybe on Airbnb, it's possible that they will want the money in dollars, okay, in US dollars. Fortunately, you can go to the cash machines in Georgia and take out US dollars. So you can do that, so that's not a problem. But just bear that in mind. It's because the currency in Georgia is kind of up and down. They want, a safe currency, if you like. So on to the next thing I want to talk about, and this is transportation. Now, if we talk about England, it's very expensive to use public transport. But in Georgia, that is not the case. You've got a few choices. The one we preferred was Bolt. There's no Uber in Georgia, but you've got Bolt. Yandex Taxi is another option, but Yandex Taxi, the cars weren't as new, whereas Bolt, it was mostly Toyota Prius cars. In fact, if it wasn't a Toyota Prius, then we were very, very surprised about it. So taxis, yeah, they're really, really good. In Tbilisi, there's a metro, but only in Tbilisi, and that will cost you 50 tetri per ride. So 50 tetri is about 10 pence for one ride. There are no zones. You can get on one side of the city, go all the way to the other side of the city, and it's 10 pence. Yeah, or you can go one stop, and it's the same. So that's really good. Other ways to get around the city, you have city buses. They're actually brand new. They bought brand new buses when we were in Georgia, so they're super modern buses. Another option for getting around the city, so if you're not near a metro station, then you can use a marshrutka. And a marshrutka is basically a minibus. I don't like them because they cram people on a marshrutka, and if you're unlucky, you end up kind of stood under somebody with their armpit in your face, and that can be unpleasant. And I also get very travel sick, so that's not good for me. So I preferred the metro and taxis. Other ways to get around, there are cable cars in Tbilisi and one in Batumi as well. So the cable cars go from Rikia Park, or there's one that goes from another region of Tbilisi up to the mountain. The funicular railway is another way to get up to one of the mountains. If you get one of these, yeah, this is a Tbilisi kind of transport card, okay? So you can find these in all the metro stations. Go up to the kiosk, ask the woman for a transport card. You put money on it, and with this, you can use the metro, the city buses, and the cable cars. You put credit on this, and you just tap it onto the electronic thing, and it's fine. So it's quite modern. You can't use these on marshrukas. You have to pay cash, and also you can't use it if you go on the funicular railway. So funicular railway, I have another card in my wallet here. So this is for the funicular railway. It's a Matsaminda card. Matsaminda is the mountain kind of right over Tbilisi. It means holy mountain, Matsaminda. You buy this card for about 2 lari, then you top it up, and then each ride on the funicular costs you 6 lari. Okay, so 6 lari up, 6 lari back. But it's not much, it's about £1.50. Okay, moving on, I'm going to talk about eating out and shopping in supermarkets. So our favorite restaurant in Tbilisi was the Radio Cafe, and we miss the Radio Cafe. It was a fantastic place, amazing food, good prices. Usually we went there, we had a meal, a few drinks. It cost us 10, 15 pounds, 2 people. So it's very good value in Georgia. Georgia's famous for hachapuri and kali. I couldn't eat any of this, unfortunately, because I'm gluten-free and lactose-free, so it's not for me. But in this restaurant, they actually kind of catered for me a bit. We got to know the manager, so it was a really friendly, nice place. Coffee, there's a really good chain of coffee shops, bakeries, called Entree. The coffee's really nice and it's cheap. So I used to have an Americano and it was 5 lari. My wife loved these kind of salmon rolls that you could get there as well, and there are lots of desserts and stuff. So it's a really nice place to go and to have coffee and stuff. Supermarkets, you've got a few choices. My 2 favorites were Europroduct and AgroHub, and there's also one called Goodwill, and then there's Carrefour. There are lots of choices. You can even buy gluten-free stuff, which is good for me, although not good for my stomach, because unfortunately I did put on lots of weight because I was eating too many gluten-free biscuits. In Batumi there wasn't as much choice, so I lost weight. But anyway, that aside, it's there if you want it. So if you have allergies like you're lactose free, you're vegan, there are soya milk options, lactose free, what's the one with nuts? Almond milk as well, that's another option. As I said, my favorite kind of place to go and buy stuff was Europroduct. Now Europroduct, they're like convenience sized stores, so they're not huge supermarkets, but it's mostly imported products. So it can be a bit more expensive, but you'll see some things that maybe you're familiar with from your own country. So there are loads of those around Tbilisi as well. There's none in Batumi, there's one in Kutaisi and a few other places, but they're mostly in Tbilisi. So that's a good supermarket to go to. Another one we used was AgroHub. Now this is kind of like an upmarket supermarket. So in Britain, think of your Waitrose. Yeah, it's like the Waitrose of Georgia. Again, lots of imported products. The price is a bit more expensive in AgroHub. Probably the cheaper end of the market would be Goodwill, maybe Carrefour. Price-wise, if it's imported, it's quite expensive. Um, Fruit and veg was really cheap in Georgia. You could buy fruit and veg incredibly cheap. And don't forget also you can go to the markets. Yeah, go and speak to the people in the markets. The quality generally was really good in market on market stalls, and then also you're kind of buying directly from people rather than putting money into the pockets of corporations. If that's your thing, then that might be a good thing as well. Okay, so let's move on to the last thing that I want to talk about, which is mobile data. So everyone now has a mobile phone. Yeah, it's expensive to roam, and there's no kind of free roaming in Georgia with your home SIM card. So the best thing is to buy one. Yeah, even if you're only there for a week, buy a SIM card. It's so much easier and it's incredibly cheap. So there are three main networks: Magdi, there's Beeline, and there's GeoCell. So we started off with a Beeline SIM card. And in Batumi, it was okay. But when we got to Tbilisi, the coverage wasn't as good. So we changed to Magdi. We paid 30 Lari a month for 20 gigabytes of data. So that's about £7 a month. To wrap up, Georgia is a cheap country. Yeah, if you're from the West, if you're from a country where you've got a bigger salary, then you can live like a king in Georgia or a queen. I would definitely recommend you visit Georgia. It is a beautiful country. I'm going to do a few more videos about the pros and the cons of living in Georgia as well. But it's a good place to be based for a year, for example, because you can live cheaply, you can save money if necessary. So thank you for watching this video. I hope I didn't ramble for too long. I hope it's useful. If it was useful, then please subscribe to my channel and give it a like, and leave a comment. If you've got any questions about Georgia, write a comment below and I can try and answer it for you. So thank you, and I will see you very soon.